Hi, sisters, and welcome back to a very special Spooky Yuki Hallowookie. Have you checked on your Pookie video on my YouTube channel? Yes. Can you guess who I am? Sorry. Anyway, welcome to a speed build on my YouTube channel. My name is Blue Rain. Hi, if you're new here. That was not a very great first impression. I am so sorry. But it's the weekend after Halloween. I'm still in a Halloween mood, so I figured I'd take this opportunity to bring to you a speed build, a very special speed build where I am going to be building the iconic apartment from American Psycho. It's a 2000 movie. I'm having a hard time saying this. It came out in the year 2000, a 2000 movie. That just sounds weird. But anyway, this is Patrick Bateman's apartment from American Psycho, played by Christian Bale. If you guys have seen the movie, you guys are really going to enjoy this one. I really think it turned out pretty accurate, I will say. Obviously, since we're working with the Sims 4 limitation, the biggest issue that we run into while trying to recreate a building from your own life or a movie, let's say, is scaling. The scaling is always off, and so it definitely looks a little more squished than his actual apartment, so I will give you that heads up. But considering that I'm using The Sims 4 to build this, it actually turned out pretty well. You'll have to let me know in the comments below if you think I did a good job, what you'd do differently, yada yada yada. As you can see, I am building this on a penthouse lot in Ciudad Emirata. First of all, I believe American Psycho is based on New York, if I'm not mistaken. That just made sense. So you would think I'd want to build this in San Myshuno, but I figured that this lot in specific would really hold his specific apartment, and so I did it on a penthouse lot, which it does kind of seem weird, but I will tell you, I built it as if it is like an apartment building, and so I added staircases that go up, and I did like 4 levels total. You would have seen that already, and so I tried to make it look like it's one of the apartments from downstairs, like it goes all the way up. However, it is 1 unit per floor, which is not very realistic if we're being honest, but I'm trying to expend imagination and pretend that, you know, there are more units on either side. And what I did in the hallway, I added staircases that connects all 4 floors, and I went ahead and placed the actual elevator on the floor that we're building the Patrick's apartment, which is, you know, the elevator serves as a spawn point on any lot, and so if you load into a lot, you will directly spawn in front of the elevator. And so I definitely wanted the elevator to be on the apartment that we're going to be building in. So that just made sense in my head. So it's on the 2nd floor because I wanted it to look like it's one apartment of many. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and plop a couple of reference images right about now, just so you can see what we're working with if you're not familiar with the apartment that I'm trying to recreate. And I did find 2 different layouts or floor plans for the Patrick's apartment. One with a washer dryer unit and a walk-in closet, and one without. So this one in particular does have the walk-in closet and the washer and dryer. I just felt like an apartment that this nice would definitely have an in-unit washer and dryer. And I feel like Patrick would definitely want one, even though there's a scene of him, well, to be fair, he was trying to clean sheets that had blood stains on them, so I understand why you'd want to go to a dry cleaner for that. But for his regular clothes, I feel like he would probably want to have an in-home unit washer and dryer just for ease, and he's really bougie like that. His whole shtick is that he wants to be literally just, he's everything he's everything wrong with white, straight, like Americans, I feel like, well, male Americans, obviously. Just he's your typical like NFT dude, I feel like. And he is so concerned about just being the coolest person around, the richest person, the most better, like the best looking person. And so he has really heavy OCD and a very particular routine, and definitely some psychological problems here and there. But yeah, I will say finding reference images to work off of were really hard, especially finding ones that were appropriate to show here on YouTube at least. And so it was definitely a struggle trying to find a good image to work off of, but in the end, it worked. For a while, I couldn't tell if the space separating the hallway, the entrance hallway, and the kitchen was shelves or a window, but upon further research, I came to the conclusion that it was a window, so I went ahead and decided to put this one from the, what is it, the Moschino stuff pack. And it kind of worked because they were square and white. And so that was kind of the perfect match that I could find. And to place artwork, I definitely had to go on the gallery and search up because you're able to find artwork on the gallery that are uploaded as rooms. And those are non-custom content pieces, and so they can work anywhere you download them. I will definitely link whoever I got them from in the description below. So if you do want to get them, go ahead and check my description, and then yes, you can find them that way. 'Tis the season to watch horror movies. Have you guys been watching any? Let me know in the comments below. I've definitely watched a few. I've watched X and Maxine. I had separately earlier in the year, well, not earlier, just like maybe a month ago or so, watched Pearl, who, walking into it, I really did not know much about the trilogy. I thought that Pearl was the first one, but it wasn't. Pearl is actually the prequel of X, and watching the prequel, I kind of liked the way I watched the movies in order. I watched the prequel first, and by the time I was watching X, I had already known the backstory of Pearl. And for the first 20 minutes, I'll be honest, I thought that Pearl and Maxine were the same person. Nope, Pearl is the old lady that's killing everyone, and then Maxine is a totally different person. But like I said, I walked into it not knowing much about the franchise, so you're probably rolling your eyes and being like, how did you think that? Listen, mistakes happen. But I definitely enjoyed the trilogy. I think my favorite one is Pearl, the second movie, which, yeah. Also, if you guys have seen the trilogy, I would love to know your thoughts on which one's the best. And then there's a specific scene in Maxine that I cannot get out of my head. It's for all of the guys out there, you might relate, but it's a scene towards the beginning of the movie in an alley. I really cannot stop thinking about that scene because it was disgusting. But I'm not gonna get into it because I do not want to tell you what happens. It's literally, it makes me sick to my stomach. And then I watched the climax because it was recommended to me by one of my coworkers. I would not recommend you watching it. I think the biggest takeaway about that movie is that it was impressive that the cast were not professional actors, and you really couldn't tell. I felt like, to be fair, they were, I believe, French, so it wasn't a different language. Obviously, it was translated, but I felt like they did a really good job at acting. I really couldn't tell. And I think that's something to credit the movie. I just felt like the plot line it got boring really quick to me. I definitely was, there was a lot of crazy stuff happening, so I was at least entertained, but the plot was just kind of lackluster. I did not enjoy that movie very much. So I'll leave that up to you if you want to watch it. And then, speaking of movies that I've seen, The Shining was one of my newly watched movies for the first time. That one was not during the Halloween season. It was a couple months ago too. I always like to watch horror movies, even like not necessarily just because of the Halloween time. I like to watch them whenever. And so The Shining was one on my bucket list. It was definitely that one. That one was a good one. When if you guys have seen my Von Hunt Estate rebuild, I talk about that movie a little bit. So I'll link that in the description if you want to check that out. And then my most recent movie that I've seen is American Psycho. Hence why we're doing this. I definitely loved his apartment. I will say I'm a Virgo. Minimalist is kind of one of my preferred aesthetics. I will say his is too minimalist, I feel like, even to my liking. Like I this is why this video is so short and it's barely sped up. It's at like a 5.5 speed, which I know is an issue on this channel. I definitely sometimes some of my videos are like at 10 speed. It's sometimes it can be overwhelming, I will admit. And when I'm recording the voiceovers for them, I don't notice how fast it's going because I'm too preoccupied with, trying to talk to you guys. And so it's definitely a miss on my part. So apologies for that. But as I was saying, American Psycho, it definitely was giving big bachelor vibes, but I still liked it. I feel like I would live in this, but I also would need a little bit more color. The entire thing was basically black and white, which is a vibe, it's a mood, but for my sanity, I feel like I would need a sprinkle of color here and there. But that's just me. It suits his aesthetic and his vibe, but I would need a little bit more, to be honest. I will say though, I probably should not admit this, but sometimes, like on Instagram, there are trends that you're able to join through stories. One of them was asking Pinterest what TV character they think you are. It was one of many questions. One of them was like, show me a picture, like me as a tattoo, me as a doll, me as an animal. I got a black cat, a very emo looking doll, and then I got like a very cryptic picture of a tattoo of like a Greek god crying, and then I got Christian Bale as American Psycho. So apparently Pinterest thinks I'm Patrick Bateman. And I don't know what to do with that information. I think Pinterest told me to go seek therapy. That's funny because all I do on Pinterest is really seek for inspiration for builds on my channel. So I don't know where Pinterest got that information from. So I'll plop the post I'm talking about right here so you can understand what I'm talking about. It's kind of funny. But one other issues that I've been running into while trying to create this build, other than scale, is his apartment had a lot of built-in shelves and really kind of intricate looking ceilings, and obviously those are two things that we're not able to recreate very well. The built-in specifically is because he had a lot of shelves inset into the wall, and we're not able to do that. For instance, there's a shelf in the wall where his walk-in shower is, where he kind of keeps his shampoos and conditioners and all his skincare products and stuff like that. And that was obviously something that I cannot recreate, but I did end up just having shelves in the walk-in shower, which is not ideal because you might bump your head into it on accident or knock something down. But if it's something that's built in the wall, it would make more sense. Again, obviously we could not do that here, so we had to improvise. And then the ceiling, he had like a lot of lighting features and stuff like that in the ceiling that we're not able to kind of simulate in this game as of yet. I would like platforms, but for ceilings, if that makes sense, where you could have one section be lower than the other one. I definitely think you would run into a lot of issues with that in The Sims 4, but it's the feature I would like to see nonetheless. And then I would also like to create shelves in the wall. That would be something interesting because obviously, like wall thickness is not something that you can control in this game. It would be kind of cool if you're able to create thicker walls and having shelves inset into them. But you know, this is The Sims 4 after all. It would be handy to create smaller pillars using walls in the game. And so, if you wanted to do that, it unfortunately has to be one tile big. And that would help with the scaling of this apartment, specifically dividing the kitchen and the living room. If those pillars that I put in there were smaller, that would definitely made the living room look a little bit bigger and more true to the recreation. But again, Sims 4 limitation, there's not much you can do about that. Oh, if you're looking at the bedroom and you're thinking there's something missing, don't worry. I don't include it in this speed build, but I definitely realized too late. So I went ahead and added it later. When we do the final tour, you will see it in there. And if you decide to download it off the gallery, it will also be included. Which, what's missing is a camera recorder in the bedroom pointing directly at the bed. Yes. So what I went ahead and did, I used the camera recorders from the Get Famous expansion pack, pointed it directly at the bed, and moved on. So it is included if you're wondering. Listen, Patrick Bateman is a nasty man, and nasty has multiple meanings here. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I really loved the usage of the artwork from the gallery download. So again, shout out to those creators. I will definitely credit them in the description because those are amazing. I think it definitely elevated the whole space using custom paintings off of the gallery. Not to be confused by custom content, but if you do decide to download them off the gallery, they are technically custom. They're not considered custom content in the game. I feel like I'm wording it wrong, but I'm meaning that they're custom in the sense of someone actually customized them and then added them to the gallery. There we go. But yeah, working a little bit more on adding details in those miscellaneous rooms. The washer and dryer and the walk-in closet we do not see in the apartment. And I feel like from a still of the movie, you can definitely see that there are doors in right next to the front door where the walk-in closet and the washer and dryer would be. And so that's part of the reason why I definitely wanted to include them, other than the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, I feel like Patrick would want an in-unit washer and dryer. And I felt like it was definitely more fun to try and imagine those spaces because I definitely could have not added them, which in turns would have freed more space up for the lounge room. But I definitely am glad that I ended up adding those rooms for sure. But yeah, the last thing that we gotta do is furnish up the walk-in closets. I was thinking about what items he would keep in them. And so I definitely wanted to add some shoes, some dumbbells, CDs, because he's big on music. That one scene where he's listening to music on his way to the office, it's a meme now, it's a meme. Um, so I definitely felt like music is a huge contributor in the American Psycho world. He definitely talks about music intensively. And then I wanted to add some suitcases because it's a thing when he basically was, moving bodies, suitcases were used to transport them. So I wanted to add a couple here and there. And then the last thing we gotta do is add some doors or windows to separate them. And then we're gonna go ahead and jump into the game and I'll give you a live preview. All right, so here we are in the world of Sierra de Mirada where this apartment takes place. This actually is the front of the build, which I'll be honest is not the most interesting part of the build. Neither are the sides, but I feel like the back with the balconies are really fun. And then this part, because it has no windows from the apartments, I definitely tried to be creative and added those dividers from Eco Lifestyle and then just some random greenery climbing up them. And then, like I said, I built this as if it's part of a bigger apartment complex. 4 floors total. Obviously, the units that are not being used, I went ahead and blocked them off, but I did want it to look like, they are being used. The second apartment, or the second floor rather, is where we're going to be focusing on. So let's go ahead and jump into the tab mode. Quick reminder, the elevator is the spawn point to any lot. So if you load into the slot, this is where you'll spawn. Very impressive views indeed. I think you would like that. If we go all the way to the other side, we just have our staircases connecting all of the 4 floors. A trash chute, a random plant here, and then a mailbox. But I will say, when you first walk in, it looks very clinical, very boring, but the more you go in, the better it gets. We've got 2 double doors on either side. One is a walk-in closet. The other one is a washer and dryer unit, fully functional. And then we've got our window here separating the kitchen. And then if we go all the way down, we've got our very nice lounge indeed. The telescope, very random addition. I will say in game it does not function because it has to be outside, but since he had it inside, we'll have it here. And then this one random tall chair in the corner. Very weird indeed. Those are meant to simulate the stereos on either side of the TV. They kind of had the right shape, and so I went ahead and used them. And obviously, you can still play music off of them, so it made sense. We've got our TV, and I was trying to simulate a DVD player with the stereo. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the kitchen. Very gray. Obviously his is steel, and if we use the steel ones, we're busy. Oh, welcome Megan. Let's invite him in. This is totally an apartment where you want to be in. But yeah, as I was saying, his kitchen counters are technically metal. But the metal counters that we have don't have matching cabinets, so I definitely did not want to use them. Very minimal, very black and white, indeed. And then this is going to be our bedroom with our camera recorder. I added a PC for him, an old looking one to be more accurate. It was just a shelf and then a place to sit. We've got our very white bed. There is a jar there that keeps disappearing every time you go into the tab mode, but just so you know, it is there. Our walk-in closet right here on either side, very nice, very plush. And then our massive walk-in, or massive bathroom rather. Toilet, sink, a walk-in shower right here with our shelves that you'd definitely hit your head if they're there. This tub needs to be a little bit bigger to be more accurate to the build, but obviously you can't do that, so we'll just settle for that. And yeah, but this is pretty much the entire build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It is on the gallery if you would like to see it, or download it rather. Origin ID Rain Blue. With that being said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next one. Bye 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 bye.